Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Yeah, this game was in Philly on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Parks has like a pretty big 10-10 game. Has like 4 or 5 tables running. Sometimes in the games can get really juicy, really deep when you get to like the main tables because they're mostly must moves.
Right.
So that they worked their way in. So this was like a 10-10, and this was like the third table. There was 5 tables running, and then so it was like around 1400 effective. So he was main villain was early position, opens to 40, which is standard for big blinds in this game, and then older reg plays pretty often, but like not that great. In the small blind, 3 bets to 140.
Right. Okay.
And then hero.
Go ahead.
And then heroes in the big blind with Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Spades.
Yep.
And then cold calls the small blinds 3-bet.
Okay.
And then main villain calls as well.
All right, so let's go over this real quick here. Again, this is Parks. On Tuesdays is their big day, right? So this is 10-10. You say that they have like a bunch of games going. You're 1450 effective, so about 145 big blinds. Early position opens to 40. Older reg, 3 bets, and the small blind to 140. You're in the big blind with Jack, and cold call, and early position also calls. You know, it's interesting here. I mean, you don't always have to take a 4-bet or fold strategy necessarily, but, you know, I've talked about this, especially recently. If the early position player who's the initial raiser doesn't think you're really going to be flatting aces and kings, you sort of are capped in between, and they can really put down the hammer. So if there's really good players or aware players, you sort of put yourself into a spot. Now, I'm not saying that I have never cold called 3 bets, but it can sometimes be a little bit troublesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the main reason why I lean towards calling rather than 4-betting is because I would much rather have the main villain in the hand than the small blind, even though the small blind I would have position over, obviously. But the main villain was definitely more loose and could have a pretty wide range. And especially if I called, definitely he would lean towards calling with basically his entire opening range.
So you think the main villain is just a little bit spewy, you mean, and you want to keep him in? I mean, obviously
Yeah,
Jacks need some equity protection, though, right? You know.
yeah, no, of course, that's for sure. But um, for the most part, like he would, especially if I called, like he wouldn't be folding anything basically. But if I 4-bet, then he would definitely be just like pretty nutted.
All right, so let's go to the flop.
Okay, so the flop is 10 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 2 of hearts.
Right, and you've got Jacks with the Jack of diamonds, so you have an overpair. 10-4 deuce, 2 diamonds.
That is correct.
Okay.
And then small blind bets to half pot, 210 to 420.
Okay.
And then hero calls.
So you call, okay.
And then main villain rips it in for like 1220.
For 12-20, and then the small blind just folds. The initial,
Yeah,
the initial 3-better, just folds, right?
Yep.
So because you emailed this ahead of time here too, I think I sort of know what your question is here, in terms of what what we sometimes call as like an MDF, minimum defense frequency, or if we're gonna 4-bet queens here, is Jacks the best possible hand that we're gonna have, with the exception of sometimes slow playing, say like pocket tens, right? Or
Exactly.
or I guess having like pocket aces. The thing with MDF is it's really hard to, even in this particular situation, do that because of the way that equity changes. Now, this is a little bit easier because it's an all-in, because obviously someone's going to have, equity against your hand if they're doing this with a draw. When the guy bets 210 to 420, you call, that's 800. So you're getting like a straight 2-1. You're getting like straight 2-1, right?
Yep.
Okay. For some reason I have this as 3-1, but you're getting 2-1. It's like 2,000, right? 1,000 to call. That's
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. 2,000 a 1,000 to call. If I did that right? 800.
Yep, that's exactly what.
Yeah, 2,000. I mean, here's the thing. Like, when you look at what could he be doing this with, I mean, obviously it looks like some sort of diamond draw, right? I mean, if you were
Mhm.
going to be optimistic about it, like if you had two overs and diamonds, you're flipping at 50-50. If you had a hand like ace three or ace five of diamonds, it's sort of the same thing because he's got a gut shot that's sort of the over. Same sort of thing with like ace deuce of diamonds. So, you are flipping against like a big type of draw and you're getting 2-1. You need about 33% equity here. But I think your question is that, should you call because this could be like the best hand that you have here besides pocket tens, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I
Like
think it
Jack,
I mean, I
the
think it
diamonds are not that great.
yeah, I mean, the fact that you have the Jack of Diamonds is obviously it's not, it's actually a little bit, it's close. It's close whether or not you would want to have it or have it. It's tough to say here in this particular example. Like when you get raised on the flop, you actually tend to want to have one of the cards so that you can call across diamond turns. Sometimes it shuts down the action, whereas if you're getting it all in on the turn, you don't want to have a diamond because you want to not you want to sort of unblock your opponent's draws. You want to have him have the ability to have the full capacity of diamond draws. But I mean, I think the question that you're going with here is that if I fold this, what am I calling with if I'm four betting queens, kings, and aces? Am I only
Exactly.
calling with tens? But here's the thing where that sort of while that sound in theory, the question then is becomes does your opponent actually realize that? And if you're not four betting jacks here because you want to keep your opponent in the hand behind you, that sort of sounds to me like the guy's not like a great player, and I wouldn't give him credit for him putting together the fact that you probably have like nines through jacks here, and that he's got a bunch of fold equity unless you have tens. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I would probably call him this spot. I mean, it's if you were to put it into Poker Cruncher and you gave him three sets and you gave him a bunch of combos. So let's say that he's got like, and we can just do this in our head, right? This is like kind of stove in our head, right? So if he has
Yep, yep.
this, if he has a set, right? You've got two outs to a higher set, plus you've got backdoor diamond. It's sort of like having like three outs and then, really roughly to calculate that, you multiply your outs times four on the flop. So you'd have about
So,
maybe like 12% equity against a set. You know what I mean? 12% equity against a set. So if he had like an equal amount of combo draws and you were 50%, and then an equal amount of sets and you were 12%, well, 50 plus 12 is 62, right? Divided by 2 is 31%.
31.
If he had
Yeah.
an equal amount, it would be very, very close. Like you'd have almost a zero EV spot, but it would be very, very, very close, almost making it a call. And sometimes in cap games like gamble, I mean, maybe you're losing like 1 or 2%. So the question just becomes like, is he more weighted towards sets or combo draws here? Like, does he have deuces? Does he have fours? Does he open those hands? Will he call with them? And if he only has tens, I'm sure you can find three combo draws that he can have
No, no,
here if he's
that's
only
that's
like snap
sure.
raising with tens. And he's even doing that with pocket tens
Yeah,
as a
yeah, no,
snap
that's for
jam.
sure. So, I originally thought he didn't have that many combo draws, but I ended up calling and he had 3-5 diamonds. So he
Okay.
clearly had all the combo draws. He's never holding like ace two, ace three, ace five.
Right.
He's ripping those.
Well, remember though, like all
Um,
those combo draws have like 50% against you, right? Just about. I
yeah,
mean, we can just do
yeah,
it in a rough way. So,
yeah,
like I said, as
yeah.
long as you find equal combo draws to like sets, then this becomes a call at 2-1. You know what I mean? What ended up
Yeah.
happening? Did you hold or what?
Yeah, twice.
You held twice.
Ran it.
I mean,
Yeah.
but do you see what I'm saying? That the idea that you have to call with one of your best hands in this particular situation isn't really like the primary thing that I would look at. I would actually look at the raw equities way more than because for that to happen, a guy would have to be able to be capable of making this play with like ace four of hearts, which is like a pair, a backdoor flush draw, and a pair that he doesn't think that you really hold. You know what I mean? Because you're never really going to have an ace here all that much unless you yourself have nut flushes. But that just doesn't happen in live poker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that does make sense.
So, but yeah, I mean that's a good one, and I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.